y'all, Christi here with Little Salty Homesteader. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am back today with another weekly update. I'm actually filming this on Thursday, even though you guys will see it on Friday because it is going to be raining all day tomorrow. So I need to get out here while the ground can still be walked on. So let's go see what's going on out there. Okay, as usual, we will start things off over here in the tomato patch. I just want to point out these volunteer borage because they're growing better than any I intentionally sowed. They're just about the size where I can transplant them, hopefully, and they will be okay. So I'm just kind of keeping an eye on them and letting them grow, and then, you know, I'll put them into some raised beds and see if they can help deter some hornworms from the tomatoes. In the raised beds, you can see everything is super green and lush, and as soon as the rain goes away, Saturday or Sunday, I will be out here doing the Florida weave on the tomato plants because they are tall enough for the first run of trellis line to go down. The peppers are also starting to grow a bit, except for where roly-polies are eating them. And it looks like I probably need to cut up some potatoes and throw in here for the roly-polies to eat instead of them eating my plants. So onions look really good. They're starting to get some pretty thick stems on them, so I'm hopeful that means there's lots of bulb development going on down there. And then looks like a Buena Mulata. It is. We got a bloom here. Now we do have a bit of cooler temperatures rolling in Sunday and Monday, I believe, so it'll be interesting to see how these peppers and stuff do. It's gonna get down into the 40s, but I'm sure they'll be fine. Let's see. Yeah, the plants are starting to get ready to bloom pretty good, so that's pretty awesome. It also looks like I might be dealing with some flea beetles. Yeah, you can see it on the leaf there. Well, it was on there. I think I flicked it off. Yeah, I'm dealing with flea beetle damage. You can see that's what's on here. So I need to look up how to deter that. Obviously the rain isn't doing it, so I need to figure out something for that because they're nibbling all my tomato leaves. Moving on to this bed. It is also filling in, and it's green and leafy. We got some pepper blooms happening. These are, I don't even know. I don't see the tag. So, oh, maybe here. Okay, we got some serrano, jalapeno. Aha. So this is like the salsa bed here. Pantera, jalapeno, yeah. Literally a salsa bed. We have tomatoes. These are indeterminate slicer and paste tomatoes, hot peppers, seems like serranos and jalapenos in this bed, and then we have onions. So, and then there's a little bit of cilantro, I think. Yeah, we got a little bit of cilantro there, so almost all of the ingredients necessary for salsa right here in this bed. But also looking really good. The radishes, man, they've really put on a ton of growth recently. I don't know if the bulbs are like the roots. I don't know if the roots themselves are developing very well or not, but they look nice and lush at any rate. All right, over here in this bed, this one is a bit different than the other two. This one has the cherry tomatoes growing in it, and then it has eggplant and tomatillo. If you guys have watched other weekly updates, then same information. But we do have pickle bush cucumbers that have germinated at both ends, so I'm excited to see those. Hopefully we can keep the roly-polies away. And bush beans are starting to put on secondary leaves and stuff, so that's really cool. But what I wanted to show you guys in this bed was we have a tomato fruit right here. So that is cream of the crop sunset torch F1 hybrid, I believe. That's what that is. So that is awesome. So we're starting to get some fruit set on the tomato plants. And then of course we have More blooms happening down here. Oh, there's another baby. I don't know which variety that is. Let's see. That is sun gold, so that's pretty cool. All right, I'm happy to see fruit set in here. Happy to see the cucumbers germinated. Happy to see tomatillos doing good. Eggplants starting to put on some new growth. I do see blooms, but I don't see any fruit set yet. Maybe there for the eggplant. So looking good. Tomato patch is looking good. All right, we have had a lot of seeds germinate since the last weekly update. Starting off with this bed. Now basically that bed is going to be the mirror image of this bed with sweet peppers and okra and bush beans and squashes and stuff. It's just the different varieties in each bed. But you can see where bush beans have germinated really well. We've also had icicle radish germinate because of the squash here. I put icicle radish around all of the squash plants you can see right there. And then we have okra that has germinated there. That's a dwarf variety there in the middle of the bush beans. I can't remember which varieties those are. I'll have to look back on my phone to try to get the variety names for the taller varieties back there. And then moving on down, these are sweet peppers here. We do have a few blooms happening. If I remember correctly, these 4 are California Belle, and then these 2 are, no, that's California Belle. So what are these? This is Hidalgo Poblano peppers here. I had it backwards. All right. Now we have the partial eclipse squash that has germinated. That looks like a butterfly pea flower. That was a accident. Maybe I'll just let it grow and then run it along here. Hamey melon, that is the green noodle bean. I planted dragon cucumber back there, but I think roly-polies ate where it germinated. You can see the greenery a little bit right there. Then we have dill right here, all growing along there. More radishes, petunia. So this bed is really just about to go wild once we get some sunshine and a little bit warmer temperatures, and that is going to be exciting to see. Now underneath here, sunflowers. Now I don't know if seeds germinated and roly-polies ate them, or the evening sun sunflowers have not germinated yet. I have no idea. You can see a roly-poly right there. He's rude. So it could go, it could be either way. But back here we have Sunflower Steve's Marl mix and then Darjeeling. You can see where something has been nibbling a little bit. So hopefully I can keep these, because these are all kind of specialty. The Marl mix are specialty, and I only have like a limited number of those. So hopefully the roly-polies don't eat them. I'm gonna throw a potato chunk in here too, just to kind of keep them away from my sunflowers. Over here again, like I said, this is kind of the mirror of that, just different varieties. The partial eclipse squash, oh, it popped up. And then we have noodle bean here, Kajari melon here. This is a Hostinator pickling cucumber, and then there's the dragon's egg cucumber. This one did germinate fine. Roly-polies have not eaten it so far. And we have some dill. I just planted like a line of dill here. I thought it would be cool and kind of help the cucumbers deter some pests. And then we have dwarf okra there, baby Bubba, something like that is what it's called. Bush beans, kind of sporadic germination on these beans compared to the other bed, but that's okay. That bed has so many, and that bed has quite a few. So at this point, everything else is just kind of a bonus. We do have some okra germinating back there, and moving on down, there is borage that actually did germinate in the raised beds. I think this is the white one. if I remember correctly. I've had issues getting the blue one to germinate, but anyway, who knows why. Could be the gardener, could be the seeds. Those two are Carmine Red Splendor, I think is the name of that okra. That one and that one, I'll have to look it up. I can't remember off the top of my head. But these candy cane chocolate cherry sweet peppers, this one is really starting to put on some good size, and hopefully you guys can see the variegation in it and how it's like multicolored. It's really cool. This plant has 3, looks like maybe 4 or 5 peppers on it. I'm gonna have to get some cages to support these guys. And this one has quite a few. That one might have a couple on it, so seems like it's gonna be a good year for those. All right, over here, these are the grow bags in front of the greenhouse. These are 10-gallon grow bags, and what is in here is corn. Montana lavender clay corn is what I believe these are. That is blue borage. Surprise, it did germinate. Gypsy sunshine marigold. There was holy basil in here, but I don't know, it didn't survive the transplant or something. Something ate it. I don't know which. This is the exact same thing as that bag. It's just on this side and kind of reversed. But this holy basil is growing, so yay. I need to collect seeds from that whenever it goes to seed. So future me, remember that. All right, corn, blue borage, gypsy sunshine marigold, holy basil. But all of the corn that I planted germinated, so that's really exciting, and it looks really cute. So this is going to be quite an experiment for me. Corn is a thirsty plant, and it is also hungry, so I'm going to have to be really diligent with the water and the fertilizer. But I think that if I can get it to grow, it'll look really cool here in front of the greenhouse. And then of course, if I'm able to harvest any corn, that will be even cooler, because then I'll make lavender cornbread, and that's kind of fun. Garlic, it looks about the same as it did last week, except maybe the greenery is taller. I don't know, it seems like it's getting taller and taller, which I'm not mad about. It means that it's growing. It means I didn't kill it, so that's a success. All right. Flower bed. Okay, so we have gotten rain a lot this week. We have more rain coming tonight all the way through Saturday. So everything is getting watered really well, and everything is getting kind of leafy and lush and a little bit wild. Not terribly wild yet, but I can sense its approach as we get more and more rain. The salvia, in just the last week, it has grown so much. I can't even see the strawberry plants that are down there anymore. I had to go dig through there the other day just to make sure there weren't any ripe strawberries that needed to be harvested. And then this volunteer cilantro is now flowering, but I'm letting it happen because the flowers are really cute and it's making some pollinators happy. And then I'll get seeds, and I'll save the seeds and have cilantro for the rest of my life. But everything in this flower bed is growing and progressing, looks really healthy. I have a ton of volunteer plants. Some of that's weeds. Some of it is marigolds. Like that's a marigold right there. So I'm gonna let the marigolds develop and see kind of what happens with those. But I have some other volunteers that I don't know what they are. Like these, I have no idea what that is. No idea. But you can see the flower bed looks really healthy. And then the flowers that I transplanted last week, most of them survived the transplant and the dog. So hopefully we'll be able to continue to keep these alive. If I can keep them alive, they are a perennial, so they'll return year after year and get bigger and more established, and then the dog won't be able to trample them. But for now, because they're so little, it's just kind of trying to keep them alive until they're strong enough to stay there on their own. Here, not much has changed. I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is not bad. Things are growing. You can definitely tell that this is lettuce now. Definitely lettuce, definitely spinach. There is actually definitely enough for me to come out and harvest some for me and Jake to have as like a side salad or put on pizza or something. So I'm not upset about that. Then these little peas are starting to bloom, and I think they're really cute. These are a dwarf variety, so they're not going to get super tall anyway. So I don't expect, to be able to feed my whole family off of the peas that I get from here. These were put in here kind of for fun, to keep something growing in the green stalk. The peas will deposit nitrogen back into the soil whenever they die off, and I wanted to see what all I could grow in here direct seeded without starting it indoors and then moving it out, because I have never been successful at transplanting spinach, but it seems to have worked fine direct sown. So yeah, I'm not going to necessarily call it a fail on the experiment, because things are growing, but lettuce for sure does better for me as a transplant. Spinach does better direct sown. And then these, I think I just waited too long and I should have gotten them in sooner. I probably should have gotten everything in sooner, but I didn't. Over here, these grow bags. These are some rhizomes for ginger. These two are ginger, and then that one is turmeric. I just planted them out on Sunday, so they have a good week and a half at least before we start seeing any sort of germination coming out of here. But if I can grow ginger, then I won't have to buy any for stir fries and curries and all the different things that we like to use them for. And if I can grow turmeric, then I can share it with my father-in-law. And then turmeric is also really great to fight inflammation, so it'll just be really good to have on hand. There's like a turmeric milk latte thing that I like to make, so it'll be really good to have it for that. Over here, this patio garden, I don't know what to call it. Last year it was a pepper green stalk, and while it does mostly have peppers in it, it also has tomatoes and eggplants. So I don't know if I should just call it the vegetable green stalk. That seems really boring. Or still the pepper green stalk, or the tan one. I don't know. It's doing really well. Peppers are starting to bloom here. This is a cayenne. This is a hybrid cayenne, so we'll see how the productivity is for it. And then we have the micro tom tomatoes. Those tomatoes are getting to have a pretty good size on them, so that's pretty cool. That's pretty exciting. And then the eggplants, they look really good. They almost look better than the ones in the raised beds, which is really funny. But nasturtiums, marigolds, it's looking really good. Strawberries. I cannot put into words how happy this whole thing makes me. Because when you move a couple of leaves, there's literally strawberries like everywhere. It is so much fun to come out here and just look to see how many different strawberries there are growing. And then that one is just about ripe, but there's like little baby fruits all over the place. That kind of deformed one is getting ripe, but there's so many out here. Look at that. Right here, I mean, like, everywhere I look, there's just so many little strawberries, and it just makes my little heart so happy. So this is currently my favorite thing happening in the garden for now. It'll probably change by next week, but for now, the strawberries are my favorite. Lime tree is looking much better. It's got all of the leaves have like pretty much filled out the tree. It was really sparse and kind of naked and sad looking. Hopefully it does bloom more than just this one and that one. But the fact that I've kept it alive so long really is just a feat of magnificence on its own. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not really sure how productive it's going to be this year since it did lose so many leaves over the winter, but I am happy to see all of the leaf growth because that means that it didn't kill it. So I'm just taking that as a win at this point. All right, the herb green stalk, that's literally what this one is because all it has in it are herbs, is doing really, really well. This lavender is starting to bloom and you can see all the little flower heads on here. So it's really healthy and happy. Chamomile is growing. All of the herbs are growing except for the Spanish lavender. It's looking really, really sad. I think all the rain has made it kind of depressed. But you can see this oregano, isn't that cool? Mint, of course, is gonna survive the apocalypse. Marshmallow, tarragon's doing really well. Of course, the thyme is flowering, and we have stuff over here that's all looking really healthy. Hi, buddy. Hi, baby. And then I planted bronze fennel in here the other day, and I don't know if you can see, not that, but right there is where one germinated. That's the only one that I can see offhand. There might be more, but I don't really see where they are. These planters that my string lights are attached to are both doing really well, and then the flower baskets up here are also doing really well. So all the rain and kind of the mild temperatures have really helped everything stay green and lush and saved me a ton in watering. So I'm really happy with how the garden is looking this week. Hopefully it doesn't drown over the next 2 days. We'll see. One last quick note over here. The hibiscus and the hydrangea, those were transplanted into the front yesterday in between rainstorms. This flower plot is doing pretty good. I thought this one was going to be a pink one, but it looks like I have 2 whites and then the purple and then calendula there in the middle. All of these, with the exception of the stuff on this tray, all of this is the plants for Logan's Boy Scout seedling fundraiser. If you are in Collin County and you're near Lavon, Farmersville, Nevada, his fundraiser is on Saturday, and most of the proceeds are going to go to the troop to help them pay for their summer camp. Some of it comes back to me to repay myself for the seeds and the soil and the containers and all that stuff. But for the most part, like, I get $1 per plant and they get the rest. So if you want to come help out some boys for a good cause, we'll be at Jeff's Barbecue on Saturday from 12 to 4. So hope to see you there if you're local. But everything looks so good and so healthy. I put them on here because we were expecting some really terrible weather, and I didn't want the thunderstorms to wreck the plants completely. So I thought, well, maybe if they're up here, like next to the house, they'll have a little bit of protection, and seems to have worked out really well. So, yay. And then this is lilies that she planted in Girl Scouts, and that's a lonely jalapeno plant that I don't know what to do with. It didn't really grow as much as the rest of these did, so I didn't want to sell that for $4 because that's a ripoff. And then this was also part of Lily's Girl Scout thing, but yeah, all the seedlings for his fundraiser look really good. And once all of that is taken care of on Saturday, then I can start to think about the heat tolerant flowers for the flower garden, and then figuring out if there's anything else that I want to get started to kind of fill in the flower bed or the raised beds, what have you. But that is the garden this week, the first week in April 2025. And it looks really good, and I'm really happy with how things are looking despite or because of all of the rain. Alright, but that's all I have for you today. If you liked this video and you want to continue to see how the garden continues to grow and change from week to week, please like, subscribe, and comment. Do all those different YouTube things. It is greatly helping my channel to grow. Otherwise, until next time, go find a way to get those garden manicures. Bye!